Welcome to the InstructorLive Podcast with me, Austin Wilks, your home for fitness, wellness and motivation. Today we're talking dance fitness. Why it's not just fun, but a powerful way to improve cardio health, strength, coordination, mobility and even mental well-being. Joining me is Carlie Milner, dancer, trainer and the creator of our brand new DanceFit program on InstructorLive. In this episode, we'll break down the real benefits of dance fitness, how it stacks up against other workouts, how beginners can start with confidence, and simple ways to fit dance into a busy week. Stick around to the end and we'll talk about Carlie's new DanceFit program, what to expect and how you can try it. Let's go! The InstructorLive Podcast with me, Austin Wilks. Your home for fitness, wellness and motivation. Carlie, it's great to have you back on the InstructorLive Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
To start off, both myself and you are former dancers and dance teachers. So we have a long history of dance. We know a lot about the subject. Obviously, we know dance as a performance-based art. And you're exploring it more now as a way to get fit. What do you love most about dance as a way to get fit?
I think the nice thing about dance is that it is, well, there's a few things really. It uses your entire body, which, quite often when you're working out, you're choosing certain areas of your body to exercise. And quite often you have to rotate those depending on what you're doing. But I think with dance, it's one of those types of movements that you don't even realize you're using your whole body until the next day. You ache all over. So that's certainly one benefit. The lovely thing about dancing is that you kind of forget you're exercising. And, from personal experience, and I'm sure lots of people out there who just love to just dance, whether you're at a wedding or you're going out clubbing or you're just dancing in your kitchen or your living room, you get a real rush of adrenaline and sort of that really lovely endorphins, and it's just such a feel-good movement, especially when you're doing it to music you like. And so you quite often forget that you're exercising in a way because hopefully you're just having so much fun with it.
So yeah, it's a great way to get fit and have fun at the same time, lose yourself, and yeah, you don't feel like you're working out.
Yeah, I think it can alleviate the stress of having to think too hard about, using this muscle group and or, setting yourself a 20-minute run, or knowing that you've got to do 3 miles, or knowing that you're doing a cardio program that lasts 20 minutes and you've got to get yourself through it. I think there's a lovely sort of ebbs and flows with dance because you'll have moments of real sort of cardio feelings, and you'll have moments where you're using that more sort of anaerobic state to hit certain movements. So it's a nice mashup of movement essentially to work the entire body.
How is dance fitness different from aerobics, for example?
It has a similar structure to aerobics in terms of putting movements together to create a sequence. However, I would say it's probably less repetitive. So where you'll find with aerobics, you may repeat one step 8 times before moving on to the next step. With dance, you might move on to the next step a lot quicker. I think in terms of agility, you're going from one thing to the other, normally in the end quicker than you would be in aerobics. But there are similarities. It's that same routine element. It's that same balance, coordination, moving different parts of your body at the same time to hit different pictures. So it has lots of similarities. But the difference, I think, is that where aerobics is very much fitness-based movement, dance, you might have something that's not necessarily going to use your glutes in the same way, for example, but you might be bending your legs and swinging your body a certain way, and it'll have more of a feel-good factor than it will be specifically, this is what you're aiming to do in this moment. There are still guidelines with that, because even with dance, certainly when teaching it, when doing it professionally, you do have to think about the way your body is moving in order to move safely.
Maybe a bit more fluidity to a dance workout than aerobics?
I think so, because I think with dance you can connect emotionally to it a little bit more. I think you still get the same buzz out of doing any kind of exercise, really. But certainly with dancing, there's something about it that has a real sort of emotional impact on the movement, perhaps.
Okay, so moving beyond cardio, what benefits do people often feel first?
Oh, do you know what? Just a release of stress, a release of stress, a release of worries. Certainly from a mental point of view, I think dance has so many amazing benefits.
What about physically?
Physically, you're talking coordination, balance, mobility, probably body confidence is a huge, huge element of dance. I think dance is very user friendly. Everybody can get up and put a piece of music on and move their body to it. And there's no right or wrong, which is the wonderful thing about dance.
For someone who says, I can't dance, where should they start?
So if it's that the most you can do at the moment is step tapping in time with the music, then that's the first step, because it is all based on timing and getting your body to move with the music. So it might be that you start doing one of the classes and you can just get to a certain point in it without it being too confusing or too complicated and being able to keep up with the music. But certainly just being on the beat is a really useful tool for starting to dance, because most dance routines are built with that in mind.
So that's a great bit of advice for someone who's a beginner. They want to get started with, a dance program, but maybe they're a bit self-conscious, they're scared. That would be probably your starting bit of advice. Just get with the beat. Would you say dance is a good form of exercise for fat loss?
The aim for these programs is to find a different form of exercise to move your body, and something that's different to doing, like a hit session. But like I said before, the idea is that it's quite constant. So once you start, you don't stop. And like I said, there's not really a huge peak in terms of cardio, of anaerobic activity. So we'll maintain a steady aerobic activity, which means that you'll be in that phase where you're moving but still able to talk. And that's totally different to the likes of doing a really high impact cardio session where you're out of breath and it's very difficult to talk. We'll be in that phase where you're still able to chat, maybe say some words without it being too much of a struggle. And that tends to mean that you're in that zone,
Mm.
that fat burning zone. I think it will be a really good one for burning calories. Once we start, we'll keep moving. But like every program you do, if you need to stop, you need to stop, and there's no problem with that.
So if someone wants to make dance fitness their cardio, how often should they be taking this class?
3 times a week.
But is there a limit to how many times you could do it a week?
Oh no, you could dance every day, couldn't you, if you wanted
Mm.
to? But if you're intertwining this with other workouts, then yeah, I think 3 times a week. If this is going to be your cardio, three, maybe 4 times a week.
So moving on to the program, what can people expect?
It will be a mashup. And when I say mashup, I mean a mixture of movements, influence from the likes of commercial and street dance, pop, and a little bit of disco in there. So there'll definitely be some movements that people recognize. There'll be some movements that people bust out at a wedding, for sure. There will be a warm up, as always, go straight into learning the combination. The lovely thing about this program, what I decided to do was make each class totally different. So where in the aerobics classes you have a routine that you start learning, and then the next session you'll continue with that routine and you'll add some more on, and then the third time you'll add some more on, and then maybe you'll do a completely different routine for the next 3 classes, for example. So within that program, their aerobics program, you'll have maybe 2 to 3 routines that you learn with different movements in them. What I decided to do with this program is make each class completely independent of the other, so that you could pick up any class. It doesn't matter if you've not done the class prior to it. It could be that you do the whole program and then there's 2 classes in particular that you really, really enjoy, that you've got the routine down, and then it just becomes a real joy to do them because they're the 2 classes that you love the most, and they'll be totally different routines from each other. each class has a completely different routine. Still, each routine will be a mashup, like I said, of the street pop sort of disco-y vibe. There'll be different movements thrown in there. And you might see some movements that have been used in other routines, but on the whole, it will look different. And I think that's a nice way of approaching the program, because then you can literally cherry pick which class won't affect the next class you do.
So, Carlie, have you got any last thoughts to leave us with?
Just have fun with it. That's the whole point of the program, is to forget that you're exercising, forget that you're burning the calories, and forget that you're having a workout, and to just have lots of fun. So I really, really hope that you come and join me on it, and I really, really hope that that's what you get from it above anything else.
So a big thank you to Carlie. Really looking forward to the new DanceFit program that you can catch on InstructorLive. Classes are beginner friendly, designed to boost cardio, coordination and confidence, all while having fun. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe so you never miss a show. Also, leave a comment and share it with a friend. You'll find links to DanceFit and all of Carlie's programs in the show description. Questions or requests for future episodes, message me via InstructorLive.com or leave a comment below. Until next time, put on a track you love, move how you feel, and keep dancing. The InstructorLive Podcast with me, Austin Wilks, your home for fitness, wellness, and motivation.